I went in for a kiss, and she leaned back and said, "This is about to be tantric as fuck."
Good morning.
Morning.
How'd you sleep?
Pretty good. It rained last night.
It rained a lot.
Yeah, we put this tarp on. Had a little baby leak. We had to put this tarp on. It's good though. Kept us dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was raining pretty hard, but it pulled things down. It's nice. Ready to make some coffee, start the day. Throw this boy's duck a little bit. So, my name's John. I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado. I was born and raised there. And I've been coming down to Texas now for a little over a year. And Texas is the new home. So, Crystal and I have been doing camper life for about 2 years now. 2 years. About a year and a half of that has been actually on the road, and then the rest of that time has been here at 10th Planet Austin. Crystal usually wakes up before me and gets up. She starts to get ready for her early morning shift, and then I tend to trail behind, get up, start to turn the coffee on, maybe make a little bit of breakfast, get the dogs out, exercise them, and start heading inside the gym for my either early morning training, or a lot of times I do privates or assist with coaching and event coordinating. It's easy to do early in the morning just because it's quiet. Most of the really serious practitioners are at the gym in the morning, and makes things easy. I like to have my coffee and hang out, start my day with martial arts. So I've been doing martial arts for about 22, 23 years. I started training when I was around 7 years old. I started out with Taekwondo, a little bit of wrestling. Back in the day, they didn't have Jiu Jitsu where I was growing up in Colorado Springs. So around 5th grade, I started training in karate and kickboxing primarily. A lot of those traditional Japanese martial arts had a component of grappling, maybe some more judo style throws and really basic stuff on the ground. Like I learned what guard was and a triangle choke and stuff like that when I was about 15. After that, I had my first MMA fight when I was 16. When I was a teenager, I went and fought up in Wyoming. And from that point on, it's always been MMA and Jiu Jitsu. MMA and Jiu Jitsu over a lot of the traditional stuff that I used to do. So right now, I've had 8 amateur MMA fights. My record's 6-2. For a while in Colorado, I was considered the #1 amateur lightweight in the entire state. Yeah, I'm looking to do more fights sometime soon. I really appreciate what the team has going here. I'm looking forward to doing maybe one more amateur fight and then doing a pro debut, or if the coaches feel like I'm ready, doing a pro debut right here out of 10th Planet Austin. For me, cage fighting is and always will be the ultimate test as a martial artist. As I've gotten older, I feel like I have to find new reasons to fight. I was never somebody who wanted to fight to be cool or to try and prove something arbitrary. I just feel like it's the purest test of martial skill that I could be doing, and that's why I've never gotten bored with it. I've always been passionate about it, and I'm gonna keep on fighting until I can't fight anymore. Crystal and I traveled all over the country looking for a community of people that we wanted to be a part of. We traveled around when we worked for Fight to Win for about a year, all over the West Coast, all over, it was actually 14 different states that we traveled to. Dropped in at all kinds of different gyms, and this is the place that felt like home. This is the place that felt like it had a community that we could grow with and be a part of. And for us, that's extremely important now with our training, because we want to be with people that we feel like they're part of our tribe, and we know that we have that here at Temple Planet Austin. So Odin's actually got a really interesting backstory. We got him for free out in Colorado. We already had Sylvia. She's about 6. Odin's 2.5 years old now, and yeah, we got him for free 99. We found him on Nextdoor app, and the owner basically told us that she had a female Aussie Shepherd mix, and they were out in the mountains up on their property in Colorado. They had a friend come and visit that had a unneutered male dog, and unbeknownst to them, their dogs hooked up, and that's how Odin was made. He was actually born in a hole in the mountains. His mom, when she was pregnant, snuck off the property and went a couple miles away from the house and made a little den and buried them and had them in the den. So when he was born, his mom came back to the property, and they had to have his mom take them to the hole that she dug miles away and had her litter in, and they had to dig him out with a pickaxe. So we always joke around, we tell people he's wild because he was born in a hole in the mountains. But he's an interesting dog. He's a cattle dog mix, and then he's got pit bull and mastiff. That's what his dad was. So super high energy, super loyal dog. He's been all over the country with me. Drop it. This is his favorite thing in the world right here. It's this duck. Good boy! Alright, you gotta go. You gotta go? Alright, see you later.
Hey, my name is Crystal. I do Jiu Jitsu and live in a camper. My life is very simple. My puppies! Hi! This is my Sylvia, my Wilvia, my Bilvia, cilantro bean, sill pie girl, the love of everybody's life. She's been with me now for almost 7 years, which is freaking bananas to think about. But I got her in Colorado, just kind of like, I don't know, I was in the middle of buying a house, still renting my old place. I wasn't allowed to have a dog, and I'm like, no, this is my housewarming gift to myself, and I got her. She was from this little mountain town in Colorado, so I had to drive like 3 hours to go and get her, and we've been together ever since. She's now been to 13 different states since we've been doing camper life, which has been really cool to get to like take your dog everywhere and go see everything. Like, she's literally living her best life. But yeah, traveling was really cool with them. They got to see a lot of really cool places. Gosh, like I feel like when they meet like some other dogs, sometimes they're all like, you ain't seen shit. We've been on the road. is very simple. Camper, jiu-jitsu, dogs. This is my day. Every morning I wake up and we're here already. Sometimes I'll hit the 6 a.m. class. A lot of times I just like wake up and I chill, get the dogs out, get them walked around, and then ready for the day. And then I usually teach yoga a couple of days a week at 8 a.m. and then get to chill some more, or I'm doing our Viking Ninja workouts here. If you haven't heard of that, check it out. I get to do those workouts every morning, sauna, and then I go to work. Oh my gosh, like just talking about this, I'm like, wow, I live the best life. But yeah, my work is 10th Planet, which is the greatest job I've ever worked before. All day long, I'm just talking to people about jiu-jitsu and martial arts. And sometimes I get to go and catch rolls and train too. I'm just constantly around it, which is just crazy to me because like before I was writing insurance and I was like, yes, I got my adult job, but this is way better. Yeah, when I get off my shift around 3, I get to eat some more food, and then usually in the afternoon, if we don't have errands or anything like that, we chill, nap, do whatever we need to do, and then it's training in the evening. Depending on the night, like what's going on, sometimes we got like Thursday night jiu-jitsu or it's 10 round Tuesday, but usually it's some kind of like training in the evening, or we have like our own kind of session in the afternoon to get some more training in. Okay, so I am from South Dakota. Well, born in California, the LBC area. That's where like all my family's at, but my family decided when I was like real small they wanted to raise their child in South Dakota. Everybody thinks that John got me into my martial arts journey, but it actually started in Little Rapid City, South Dakota. I grew up actually doing karate and judo. Gosh, I started when I was like 7 or 8 years old, trained till I was about 18. I'm a 2nd degree black belt in Shotokan karate and a brown belt in judo. I have to say that definitely like helped me a lot getting into jiu-jitsu, like for sure, like I'm really hard to take down. But from South Dakota, I ended up in Colorado. I went there for school. Yeah, and that's where I met John, was in Colorado. And John is the one that got me into jiu-jitsu. Yeah, but I went to Colorado for school. Basically, I met John out there. I was going to school for dental assisting, which I don't fucking do anymore. It was just so funny. Like my parents paid for me to go to school out there because they're all like, yeah, get out of South Dakota, go do something with yourself. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go be a dental assistant, maybe be a dentist one day. And then I decided that shit sucked, it was boring, and I started bartending because that was fun. It made a lot more money too, like entry right off the bat. So I did that for a few years, and like I wasn't doing any martial arts at that point in time too. I think like the reason I stopped when I was like 18 is because money became more important, trying to get my own apartment, you know, just like trying to just get out in the world, explore other stuff. Because like literally when I was a kid, like that's all I did was martial arts. I hated other sports. I didn't really hang out with a lot of kids. It was just judo and karate every night after I got off school, and then on the weekends as well. But yeah, bartending eventually like kind of led to like dead end, like okay, like I don't want to be doing this when I'm 40, so I started getting into yoga because I don't know, like I felt some purpose there, just like trying to help other people with that. And then after I got into yoga, I actually started teaching yoga at the Olympic Training Center, which kind of like sparked my interest into getting back into like some kind of form of martial arts, some kind of discipline, just like anything, especially being around Olympic athletes. Like that was so super inspiring to be around. So I got to teach them yoga there. They would tease me a lot because they knew I did karate. They're like, come on, just like throw hands with Ginny, you're about her size, like it's gonna be really great. And we like would drill a little bit. I would do workouts with them, but I never really got into it until I met John. And John did MMA. He was training for a fight at the time, and I was like, all right, well, like this looks fun. I'm not just gonna like sit here and watch you. Like I'm gonna do this with you. And gosh, ever since then, it's just been love for martial arts. Should have never ever stopped. I was doing Muay Thai with him. I still do a little bit of that, but mostly it's just Jiu Jitsu. I'm absolutely 100% obsessed. But here we are now. No more bartending. Gosh, no more like 9-to-5 job too. I did that for a little bit. We're just out here training Jiu Jitsu, working at 10th Planet Austin, and yeah, it's the greatest life ever.
So I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado, and that's where Crystal was living. She lived there for about 9 years or something before we ended up coming down here. So at the time, I was taking some college classes and living in Colorado Springs, and I kind of just found out about Crystal like through a circle of friends and people that I had, and saw that she was on Facebook and realized like she was into yoga. She looked like she was super into health and fitness and some, like stuff that I was into. So I messaged her one day and asked her if she wanted to go on a hike with me, which is like the typical Colorado thing to do. Like you just find there's free hiking everywhere. It's public. It's just an easy way to go and hang out with people.
I made him wait 2 weeks to go on a hike with me.
Yeah.
And not only 2 weeks, but also I only gave him an hour of my time.
I used to have to schedule my time to hang out with Crystal like it was reserving an appointment, and she'd only give me that exact amount of time.
And you were late the first day?
Yeah. So we decided she was gonna let me have an hour to go on this hike with her. So we went to this place called Red Rock Canyon in Colorado Springs. At the time, she only had Sylvia, who was like 2 or 3. So we went on this whole hike and just talked about fitness and yoga and health and stuff. And partway through the hike, I realized that she was just kind of letting Sylvia like go wherever she wanted. She had her on this extendable leash, and I realized Sylvia was really smart. And I said, hey, like maybe for the last couple minutes, I bet you I could get her to walk on heel the entire rest of the way. She seemed really smart, like she'd listen to me. And she said, okay. I was like, yeah, let me see if I can, you want to walk your dog and take control and have them walk on heel so they know you're in charge. And I grabbed Syl, and immediately we connected. I started giving her commands, and within like a minute, I had her walking on heel the rest of the way when we hiked through this area. And then we get back down to the car, and I thought we had been vibing and chilling and that everything was good. Like I felt charming, and I went to say goodbye, and I went to give her a hug, and I had that moment where I pulled my head back like, should I try and kiss her? And I went and I leaned in for a kiss, and what did you say?
I said, I think I just said, this is about to be tantric as fuck. I don't even think we kissed.
No.
I don't even think we kissed.
No, I went in for a kiss, and she leaned back and said, this is about to be tantric as fuck, and then turned around and walked away, and I was like, what? I don't know what that means.
And then I left her there.
And I guess just the denial and the fact that I was only slotted an hour of her time, like, made me just want to be around her more. So that's how we met. That was our first date. And yeah, after that, like, I just basically pestered her relentlessly until she hung out with me, and actually still only got about an hour of her time at each time we would hang out. And we only started actually hanging out more once I finally got her to come and do Jiu Jitsu with me. That's when we started spending more time together. Was, hey, now instead of an hour, I get an hour to hang out, plus go and do training, and then let's talk afterwards. And that's when we started spending more time together, actually. Yeah, it's been about 4 years now. Seems like longer with everything that's happened and like all the different places we've traveled, so it's not something we super keep track of, but yeah, it's starting to get to like the 4 or 5 year mark. Camper life and living out of your vehicle and RVs is like super trendy, but we never had like a hard plan to commit to doing it. It's just something we both thought was cool. once we started going through everything that happened in 2020 with the pandemic, that's what ended up pushing us into actually doing it. This is the truck that I had at the time, and when the pandemic happened, everything in Colorado closed down for a while. There was about 3 or 4 months where there was no gyms open at all. The job I was working at closed. The yoga studio she was working at, that my job was connected to, closed. And
I got fired.
She was working on getting into insurance and working for a company. She got fired, and that ended up also costing us the ability to close the deal on the house that we were in the process of buying. So we pretty much lost our jobs, lost the house, lost, you know, all the stuff we had been working for at that time, and we decided we just needed to do something different. We didn't want to continue playing the game that we were playing, so we found this old camper, threw it on the truck that we had, and started planning to hit the road.
One of the ways we made money on the road when we were traveling was working for Fight to Win. It was just so random. I remember, like, before we even started that, Don and I were like, yeah, we'll probably just like work some maybe like random Jiu Jitsu tournaments, like grappling industries, because they happen all over the place. But at that same exact time, Seth Daniels puts up this post. What was it? He was like saying, like, must be able to work hard and party hardier. It was just like this crazy thing. Is like looking for Carlitos, like, must be able to compete on like little to no notice, must be able to travel every single weekend. I can't remember what else was on that list.
There was another one. It was like, can't be a little bitch.
That was it. Can't be a little
like
bitch.
that.
And John and I were like, this sounds perfect, because then we could travel, we could get out of Colorado and make some money while we're on the road, and it worked out pretty good.
So we followed them around and caravanned around the country while they were going show to show in our camper rig, and stayed on with them for about, I think, like 13 or 14 shows. So that's how that came about. There was a Fight to Win. That was our first Fight to Win we competed on in Denver, and that's where they're based out of. From that point, we launched, and the follow-up show was in Houston, Texas. So we knew we would be able to get back down here to Texas. We had come to ATX the previous year for a few months to check it out, and so that's kind of where our life on the road in Jiu Jitsu specifically began. There was a lot of kind of crazy things that happened while we were on the road. Different times that the truck broke down, or we kind of got put in a dicey situation. One of the stories is actually after we finished the Houston show, we came here to take a couple days to train and get reacquainted with everybody.
Got to meet Curtis and Priscilla.
The first time
too.
we met Curtis and Priscilla, they weren't here when we came and trained last year. So once we kind of got reacquainted with everybody after a few days, we decided to take off. The next show was going to be in Phoenix. We were leaving here. Everything was going good on the drive. My truck is it's a 1999 F-150. I've put a lot of time and energy and money into fixing it up and trying to make it roadworthy, but at this point in time, there were some other things and some repairs that needed to be done that I guess hadn't been done in a while. So unfortunately, you figure that stuff out when you're on the road. We're doing about 60 or 70 miles an hour in our rig, and I realize I need to stop for some gas. We're in Llano, Texas. It's about 90 miles from here. So we made it about 90 miles into our drive, and I decided to pull off for gas. As soon as I pulled off and pulled into this gas station, the entire back right side of my vehicle dropped down. I heard a loud noise. I felt my vehicle actually smack the ground, and Crystal looked at me and said, "Did you put it in neutral? What happened?"
I said, "Did we hit rocks?"
Yeah, did we hit rocks? Because we also saw some stuff get kicked up off the ground. It turns out it was chunks of asphalt. So I'm like, something serious happened. I put it in park. I kill the engine. I run out around back, and the entire right wheel was off and rolling off. Not just the tire, the whole wheel was rolling off and fell down like 15 feet away from me. I looked down at the space where the hub used to be, and it's on fire. So I run in, there's a fire extinguisher in the back of the camper. I get that, I'm spraying it, trying to put it out, and I can see basically where the axle was so hot that the steel was molten red hot and on fire. And essentially, I guess what happened was a bearing went out and caused all of the fluid to leave the drum brakes that I have on the back of my truck, and at 60 or 70 miles an hour it heated up so much that my wheel basically melted and snapped off. So luckily it happened as I was pulling off the road and not while we were doing 60 or 70 miles an hour a few minutes before. But essentially we got stranded there. We had to get our camper and truck towed to a local mechanic, and we had some of the money to do the repairs, but we got stuck there for 4 or 5 days camping out of our camper while it was up on jacks at a auto body shop, and we had to do a emergency like GoFundMe. And luckily there was a lot of people from here at 10th Planet and other community and family members who sent us some money. We got the repairs done, and we drove the rest of the 15 hours out to Phoenix and made the show. But that was a whole experience. And, obviously we were just happy to be alive and that nothing else serious happened, but it was quite eye-opening, and it was nerve-wracking to get back in the vehicle and drive after that and go and complete the next show.
But we made it.
Yep, that's why we're road warriors.
Yeah, from Phoenix it was to, what was that? Was it San Diego?
We went Phoenix,
or no, LA.
LA, San Diego, up and down the Bay Area, and the whole West Coast basically.
Out of all the gyms that we've been to, because like while we were out traveling too, we were trying to train and like figure out where it is we really wanted to train, and 10th Planet Austin just had our heart. On our now trek to Austin, when we decided we're just gonna get going there, we had to drive through Roswell, New Mexico. And Roswell's not the greatest place, not our favorite place anyways. Didn't have a lot of good places to like park our camper for the night, so we found like this gas station that had some other truckers like parked out in the back. I think they also had like another RV back there. We're like, all right, well if they're parked here, this is probably okay for us to park. It's fine. We got a good night of sleep. We got up real early because we, I think it was like only 9 hours from Austin to Roswell at that point. So we're like, all right, we're gonna get real early, make our way to Austin, Texas today. We're gonna be there tonight and we're gonna see everybody. It's gonna be great. So we're up, making coffee, making breakfast. We have our window open, and as we're like just like shooting the shit in our kitchen, I look out the window, like John and I both see it. There's this hooded man just kind of like skulking real fast, like right by our window. And I'm like, John, did you see that? Skulking's the word. And and he's like, what the hell? I'm like, it's a guy. And then like John looks out of like our other window, and now he's like in front of our camper door. Our door's closed. He's like in front of our camper door, and John's like, watch this. He grabs his pistol. He grabs like his giant Nomad blade. This thing is ridiculous. He's just holding them in his hand, and like as this guy's about to like come up to the door, I don't know what he was gonna do, to like knock or maybe like just try and rip the door open. John kicks the door open in this guy's face, and like this guy already looks like he's gonna shit his pants, like already. And like, did he even say anything? I don't even know if John said anything yet, but this guy like lifts his hands up and goes,
what are you doing?
Yeah, that's all he says. Like barely even says anything. And the guy lifts up his hand and goes, it's not your fault. And it just took us off guard. We're like, what?
I was like, I know it's not my fault. You were trying to break into my camper, bro. Like,
we're like, walk.
Yeah. I just told him to walk. Just keep on walking. And he turned around and just kind of skulked back off into a field of grass, and then disappeared. This is all before I had my morning coffee, and yeah, it was really awkward. We still don't really know exactly what he was doing, but
That's when we booked it to Austin.
we decided that we just needed to get back to Austin and just not deal with any of that stuff anymore.
Yeah. And when it's not 1,000,000 degrees outside, we'll sit out here and do matches for Thursday Night Jiu Jitsu.